Hey everyone, Jan here, codingwithjan.com. So today, special interview. We're talking to Coralie Delfer, and I'm sure many of you have already seen her before. She went from being a freelancer to now working full-time at Shopify. We had an awesome talk, super interesting insights, and I'll leave some timestamps for you down below and wish you a ton of fun, and let's dive right in. All right, Coralie, I'm super excited for our chat today. In 2021, you have been a viewer of this channel, and back then you were working on your own freelance projects. Then, in 2022, we met in person for the first time. That was during Unite in London.
Yes.
And now it's 2025. You work full time at Shopify. You have 10,000 followers on LinkedIn, 5,000 on X. You run your own newsletter. So a lot has happened in the meantime. But before we get there and before we hear your advice, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's funny because you give a shorter version, like you said that we met in 2022. It's true, but the story of how we met was kind of fun. Like I remember it was at the lunch break at Unite. I was having my lunch at a table in a room that was dedicated to a workshop, and I saw you two tables away. And before I came to see you, I had in my mind like a mental thinking of like, okay, I need to go see him because I've been learning with his videos for the past 2 years. Like you were like a star for me at some point, like at that point. And so it took me like 10 minutes, I think, to come see you, but then I did, and yeah, it was really nice talking to you. And then we stayed in touch. And yeah, a few years later, here I am. And it was cool also to see you in Toronto last year for the Shopify Summit. So yeah, I do see you more and more now. It's nice.
It is true. It is true. And we're also going to see again in May during Matt D'Souza's White event in Paris
Yes, in
again.
Paris.
And yeah, I also remember when you came up in London. I remember you were like you were a little nervous, if I can say
I
that.
told you.
And
Yes.
but I'm so glad you did, honestly. And I mean, yeah, how does it feel to be on this channel now?
It's crazy. I see the background behind you. Like, yeah, it's no, it's great. Thank you. I'm very grateful to be here today.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, as we talked earlier, today we want to talk a little bit about your own journey. You went from freelancing to building your own personal brand. Now you work full time at Shopify. But I would say we start at the very beginning. So how did you even start freelancing in the Shopify space? How did that happen?
How did that happen? I was doing a coding bootcamp in Paris called Lowagon. So that was in 2019.
Hmm.
And after that, I decided to start freelancing, but I didn't want especially to start freelancing in Shopify because I didn't know what it was. I was starting only doing some WordPress work, which is the platform I knew at the time. I was also doing a bit of Ruby because that was the language that we learned at Lowagon. And
Yes.
then I basically signed up on a freelance platform, a French one called Malt.
Hmm.
I think now it's like quite known in Europe, but I think it's French at the beginning. So I signed up on
Yeah.
there, and one of the first work offer that I got was on Shopify. So that's how I discovered the platform. That's how I got hooked. Basically, it wasn't a choice for me. It's not like I saw like a potential or like made a strategic decision. It was just completely, yeah, out of nowhere.
Okay, so the first project you could get your hands on, kind of. Back then, did you have any doubts that you would be able to like complete this project, or was it difficult? Because I mean, you didn't know the platform back then. What made you accept the project?
um, what made me accept the project? I think I liked the message that I received, like the very first one. That guy was saying that his wife was trying to launch her brand of like hair care product that she was making at home. So
Hmm.
I really liked the story, and so he was saying, yeah, they, like she makes them and she's already selling them like to her friends and family and stuff, and now she wants to kind of officially start, and she needs help for that. And so yeah, I was thinking this could be cool to help her. I don't think I even charged that much, honestly. I think it's like if I find the invoice today, I would laugh. Like it was very, very small. But yeah, I knew when I received the message that I didn't know Shopify, so that like at that time I wasn't capable of doing the work. But I thought I'm just gonna learn on the way and it should be fine. And because it was a very simple work to start with, then yeah, I did. It was very nice. I have a very good
Yes.
memory from that first job with them.
Yes, that's awesome. And also, when you said, okay, so when you saw the message, was it a freelance platform in the sense that you had a freelance profile and people would
Yes,
contact you?
yes.
Okay, yes. Because for example, on Upwork, it's rather that people post projects and you apply to those. Okay, so in that case, the guy approached you, and then you said, okay, I'll figure it out on the go, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. On Malt, all the freelancers have a profile with their information, skills, and everything, and then the clients contact them. So I'm guessing that he contacted me and also other people.
Mhm.
I have no idea why he contacted me because I didn't write Shopify anywhere on my profile. So maybe just the localization, freelancer in Paris. I'm not sure. I didn't ask.
Yeah.
All the work that I had after that, I was asking, like, why did you choose me over other people? But the first one, I didn't. I was just so happy that I got the message, and we started quite quickly after that.
Cool. Yeah, that's also what I oftentimes tell the beginners. Just if you can get your hands on any type of project, it doesn't even matter how much it is. Like, just get the
Yeah,
ball rolling, build some momentum. I also remember I built my very first website for like $500, which is not even that much if you compare to prices now.
yeah,
But yeah, just to get some momentum, to get the first client, to get that first testimonial, it's a super big milestone actually.
yeah, exactly. Especially on Miles and other platforms, like you really need testimonials so that your profile is pushed.
Yes.
So yeah, that was essential to get that first one.
Okay, awesome. And then yeah, from there, where did clients come from? I mean, now you have the first review, you have the first testimonial. More work through the freelance platform or also outside? Like, what happened after?
What happened after? I liked Shopify so much that I changed my title on Malt and I just put freelance Shopify developer.
Yes.
So to make it easier for people to find me. And so the second work was on that platform still. Someone contacted me. It was a physical store that needed some work done also on their online store. Um, and then the third one, I'm not sure, but it was probably Malt as well, because I think I have like 9 or 10 work done on Malt, and most of them were done at the very beginning. I
Mhm.
then was getting more job from LinkedIn, and then I left like Malt on the side. But yeah, I think the 3 or 4 first one came from that platform.
Okay, that's super interesting. So, yeah, LinkedIn and personal branding is also something I wanted to touch on during our talk. But maybe before we get there, do you still remember your hourly rate in the very beginning and then also towards
Yes.
the end of your freelancing career? Are you open to share that even?
Yeah, 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 of course. When I finished Le Wagon, they gave us like kind of a workbook of like, now the training is finished. Here is a bunch of advice like for you to like fly with your own wings kind of thing. And
Mhm.
so it was written for those willing to start as a freelancer. We advise a daily rate of 250 euros minimum. And
Yes.
so I saw that and I was like, okay, I'm going to put the minimum of 300, so just a little bit more. So I started with that. I think I had that rate for like a year, something like that. And
Yes.
then it wasn't a conscious decision on my part, but looking back, the increase was quite regular. Like I did 300, then 350, 400, 450, 500, 550. And then at the end, it was, I didn't stay for long at 600. I went at 700 quite quickly. Like the last year, I was at 700, except for one work that I put at 900 because I was doing a custom app with a friend. So I would say like the rate that I had the most was 500. I remember I said like a year and a half at 500 was maybe my third year, something like that. And then at the end, yeah, 700.
Okay, awesome. And okay, so you were always speaking of daily rates. So if we break it
Yeah.
down to hourly, you estimate like one day has 8 working hours. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
let's say between 50 and then towards 90, 100 towards the end of the career.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. At the end, 100 an hour approximately.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Looking back, what was the biggest mindset shift? I mean, in the beginning, okay, you were maybe a little less confident, like 30, 35 an hour, you
Yeah.
said. Or no, you said, yeah, 30, 35. And then towards the end, you felt comfortable charging 80, 90, 100. So what
Mm.
changed during that time? Was it just the confidence? Was it were it your technical abilities? Like, what would you say?
Oh, it's many things. It's many things. I think first there's the technical abilities for sure. So at first you're a bit shy with your rate because you know that you can't do a lot. You don't have the skills yet.
Mhm.
And then the first like 3 or 4 work that I had, like they started to look the same a bit. It was always a store setup with a theme with very little customization, which was mostly about like teaching the client how to use the Shopify admin and stuff like that. And so it gets easier and easier, and so then you get more confident. So you feel more confident to put your raise, like your price, sorry, raised a bit.
Yeah.
And then there's also the fact that like you want to distinguish yourself as well from the other freelancers starting. So like
Yeah.
if you have like 1 or 2 years of experience and you see that your price is still the same as the one starting, especially on Malt, like you see the rate of everyone. Yeah, you want your rate to mean something basically. You don't want it to be exactly the same as everyone starting. So I think that was also a reflection. I remember talking with someone like at the very beginning. I don't even remember who it was, but like the sentence stayed in my head. It was like at the end of the day, the daily rate that you have is really depending on like how much you want to make and how many days you want to work. So like if you want to make 100K per month and you only want to work 2 days, technically your daily rate is like 50K, and then it's your job to go and sell that.
Yeah.
So I also had that in mind. It was like if I want to work 20 days during the month and I want to make I don't know how much,
X amount. Yeah.
then yeah, X amount. There's also this calculation to make. So it's also the budget of your client that you want to have in mind. Like when you start doing store setup and stuff, of course, you're not going to charge like that much. So what was interesting for me to see also is like when I was raising my prices, the type of work was also changing. So like it started with store setup, and then it's not that I didn't want to do store setup anymore. It's just that because I raised my prices, then it was merchants who were already on the platform who were contacting me to do like customization, custom section, and stuff like that. And then if you raise a bit more, it's going to be like merchants who are on Shopify Plus and they want to have you with them like 1 day per week, 2 days per week. Like you really see the difference, or at least I saw the difference in the type of work that was asked. So
Yes, super interesting. You had super interesting points there, especially the part where the perceived quality in the client's head also is tied to your hourly rate. For example, a Shopify Plus brand wouldn't hire a freelancer for like 25 bucks an hour because, like,
they'll
how
be
can that
scared.
be good quality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly what you said. And then also consistently raising the prices means you're learning, you're improving over time. And if that's public on your profile, it should only go up if possible.
Yeah. And I remember also like at the end, like the shift that I made from 600 to 700, it was just because I was full and I was seeing that I was still receiving like so many offers. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so then I'm going to raise a bit more and see what happens. And like nothing happened. It stayed the same. So I don't know like to which amount I could have gone, but yeah, it's a lot of my friends were telling me that as well. It's like if you're still full and offers keep coming in, then raise, and see what happens, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, if you have a full pipeline, we also tell this like students in our bootcamp, like if the pipeline is full, experiment with pricing, and we
Yeah,
also say anchor high because if you don't get at least one no, it's not even a negotiation; it's just agreeing, right? So try to aim as high as to get one no, and then you can still like balance it out or whatever.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. We
awesome.
heard that a lot.
Yes,
If the yes is too quick, it wasn't high enough. The client
exactly.
apparently that's what people say. They need to do like, okay, then.
Yeah, yes, and then you're at the sweet spot. Yes.
Yeah, needs to hurt a bit.
Yes. Okay, this is awesome. I feel this is already great advice here. Earlier, you said something very interesting. So you started on the freelancing platform, but then you mentioned also
Mm.
some clients came through LinkedIn. And I
Yes.
mean, now you have a massive LinkedIn profile, honestly, in the Shopify space. But when did you start to put out content? When did you even consider this to begin with?
Hmm. Um, that's a funny topic because I know it's awkward for so many people, and I think to some extent it's awkward to me as well, posting. But it started quite early on. Like before the coding bootcamp, I was in business school and I did an apprenticeship in a company. So I was
Mhm,
doing like 3 weeks in a company and then 1 week at school.
mhm,
And my boss at the time, she's actually the reason I started posting because um, she was basically telling me that in the company I needed to communicate more about what I was doing because like she told me you're doing a great job, but I'm the only one who knows that you're doing a great job. And like this sentence kind of stayed in my head. Like
yeah.
so at that point, like she sent me to a bunch of events in Paris, and so that's when I started posting on LinkedIn. I think if I go back like to the it's quite hard actually on LinkedIn to go back to the very old post. You can't filter by year. But I think if I go back to the first one, it was probably a post about today I went to this event. This is what I learned. Here's a little picture and like why I was sent there. And so I got the reflex of like every time I do something like cool professionally, then I share it on LinkedIn. And I didn't care at all if it was like having a few comments or a few likes. It was just taking the habit of posting. And at the company, I was also doing the same, trying to talk more about the projects I was working on and the results and stuff. And so when I joined the bootcamp, I think I did a post to say that I had joined and then a post to say that I had finished. And then it was already a habit when I started taking on freelance projects. I was like, okay, so this project was just released last week. We work on that with this merchant. The goal was to do that. And here is a little video of the store
Mhm.
once finished. And so I did that for every one of my projects. There's not one project that I didn't post about on LinkedIn.
Okay, wow.
And then you add to that like all the Shopify events that I was going to, all the people I was meeting, sometimes some interviews that I was sharing as well. Yeah, I already had the habit even before being a freelancer. It's not like I had this strategy to grow as a freelancer. It was already a habit. But then I saw that it was really helping me because I started having like offers on LinkedIn. So then I continued. And it's more like I didn't start for that, but I kept a solid pace because it was super positive to me. Like I started posting twice a week 2 years ago, and I really saw the impact of that.
Okay, yeah, this is awesome. I feel especially, I mean, great that you picked that up on the last job, and that also really shows
Mm.
that in every job that you work, or you can pick up like one or two things, maybe a habit, or maybe like one mindset shift, or like anything. It could be anything that can help you throughout the entire career, even in a different field.
Yeah.
Okay, and but when was the first time that you saw like benefits from posting? Was it like right from your first post ever, or was it a few months down the line? Like, what was the first benefit you really noticed?
No, I think the first one is nobody cared because in my company, like my boss, for example, was not on LinkedIn. She's still not. So no, the post that I did at that time didn't really matter. But when I started posting about the bootcamp, I remember I had some messages of like, "But I thought you were in law school and then I saw business school and now you're doing code. Like, please explain." And so that was kind of an opening for conversation when I was meeting people,
Cool. Yeah.
especially like friends of friends. So that was the first impact. And then professionally, I think it's like I remember receiving messages from merchants. It was not for work. It was just to say, "Oh, I saw that you did that for this brand. This is really cool." And so just receiving that, I was like, okay, so it means that even though there's not a lot of likes and comments, people are seeing it in their feed and they're taking in the information. And then I saw like every Shopify event I was going to, a lot of people who I didn't know started to come to me and say, "Oh, I saw this post. It was nice. Thank you for sharing. I learned this." And then you just keep the ball rolling.
Okay, so it was positive reinforcement also for the work you
Yeah.
did, maybe help with your confidence, and some positive feedback is always nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really cool. I also remember when I was putting out the first YouTube videos. I mean, they also didn't get a lot of views, maybe a couple hundred. But then I always imagined myself like in front of a classroom, and like, what is a classroom? Like 30 people, right? And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is awesome. I'm a teacher now. And then you get these positive comments. It also, I mean, it also feels good, right, to receive positive feedback
Yeah.
for the work you put out there. So yeah, I feel
Yeah.
this is really cool.
I
And
felt useful, honestly.
yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And then also the question, did you have some insecurities when posting in the beginning? Because I mean, now you're putting yourself out there, you're posting in English, right? It's not your native language. It's kind of
Hmm.
different from what you did before with the law school and everything. So what
Yeah.
were some insecurities that you may have, or you may have had? So,
Um, yeah, it's a good question. I know I wasn't too worried about the writing because like I had a blog at that time, and so for me the LinkedIn posts were kind of fun to write, like the intro and trying to explain in a format that was not too long as well. So I enjoyed the writing. The writing was not awkward, but it's really like when you click on post, then I was like, okay, this is going out. There's no turning back afterwards. And I was trying to think also. I remember at the very beginning, I was very aware of who was following me on LinkedIn. So I was like, this person is going to see that, this person as well, former colleagues and stuff. So it has to sound professional and sound nice. And I didn't want to be just a post that you see and like you don't care about. I wanted to try to um, point something that people may have not seen, or like they would find cool. It's kind of my direction right now. It's either people will learn something or they will find it cool. And if not, then I don't know, I didn't do a good job. So it was more like that. It was more the pressure of I hope this is useful.
okay, yeah, that's amazing. Do you still remember how many impressions? I mean, I'm kind of bombarding you here with questions, but I hope that's fine. I mean, that's kind of what we agreed to. Um,
Part
Do
of
you
the
still
contract.
remember how many impressions you got in the beginning versus how many you get now?
How many I get now? Yeah, I'm very aware. Before, I'm not sure. I know at the time I wasn't looking that much at the impression. I was looking at the likes. And so, like, at the very beginning, like 10 likes was super big, like for
Mhm.
me. And then I remember I did a post. I was still at the company, so it was 2018. I had done a post about a project I had launched. I wanted to create a platform where people could give their opinion on concerts. I don't talk a lot about that project actually. And so yeah, I had launched that with a friend, Claire, who helped me on the development. And so the day I shared that platform that I had built, that we had built, the post blew up. And I remember that was my biggest one, like for a long time. And I think that one was like 300 likes, something like that.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, in 2018, 300 likes was huge. I don't even know if I had 100 likes before that, honestly. And so now that I look more at the impressions, I know that last year and the year before, I did 1 million impression total
Crazy.
on the
Yeah.
year. And I post twice a week. So like that's like I think I did 120 posts last year and the year before as well. So yeah, you do the math. I don't know how many impression it is like on average, but I know that a lot of the time I do more than 10K impression on the post.
Yeah, I feel it really helps to put all these numbers in perspective with like real life events. So for
Yeah.
example, the city I live in has like 500,000 people in it, right? And then 100,000
Mm.
impression would be, or I mean, a million impressions even would be like twice the city, like everyone in the city I live in. Or
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
like a stadium, like a medium-sized stadium that's like 45,000 people, 50,000 people. So if you imagine you're speaking, like just imagine you would be speaking in front of like 10 stadiums or 20 stadiums. It's just mind-blowing, right? How much reach that actually is.
Yeah, yeah. No, for LinkedIn, it's crazy. It's hard to imagine, but I know that for the newsletter, I do think like that. Like, I think every time I press the button, there's like, I think I have 950 something subscribers right now, and I have like 60% open rate. So I know I have more than 500 people that are actually going to open the email and hopefully read. And so, yeah, this strikes me, and I try to imagine. Yeah, it's a good crowd.
Yes, yes. And it's also that's also oftentimes overlooked. It's a very qualified audience in the sense that
Yes.
on your newsletter you probably have like junior developers, senior developers, agency owners. It's like this
Yeah.
very core Shopify audience, super smart people. I mean, I don't want to intimidate you in front of like before
No
your
pressure.
next post, but it is there is some like value in that audience. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, sweet. Let me take a quick look at my notes here because yeah, personal branding is an important one.
Mm.
Would you recommend everyone starting out as a developer should create a personal brand then?
Yeah, honestly, maybe they don't have to think of it as a personal brand because it's quite intimidating and you don't really know where to start. But I advise people to start posting on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's for sure. I know everyone around me, every freelancer starting, every friend. Uh, I remember I received a message last week from a friend, Guillaume, and he told me, "Yeah, I did this presentation in front of this crowd. It was super." I was like, "Where is the post, my friend? Like, we're waiting for it. This should be shared. It's just too interesting. It's too valuable."
Yes, yeah, I'm doing the exact same on the free mode Q&A calls. Like people finishing their projects, landing new clients, researching certain topics. For example, they were testing like the 10 best subscription apps for one client.
Mm,
And I said, do a post about that. Like people want to know that. And it's like,
yeah.
yeah, I also feel it can only help.
Yes, especially comparing apps, it's a big time saver. We all have to do it at some point.
Exactly, yes. Okay, sweet. Yeah, that's all I wanted to know in terms of personal branding. So you came from freelancing,
Hmm.
LinkedIn helped a lot, like building your personal brand helped a lot. You were
For
raising your
sure.
hourly rates. Things were going great, and now you're going back to full time. Why is that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say like a little parenthesis on that. I also think that like posting on LinkedIn is going to help you like immediately. You're going to see like you're going to have more visibility, more messages, and more people offering work. But I think it's also a great security for when there's a downtime in the market. Like right now, e-commerce is booming and it's amazing, and like there's so many brands launching and they all need help. So like it's kind of a golden age. But like if tomorrow, I mean, just in e-commerce, not in the world in general. In e-commerce right now, even though it's yeah, it's tougher than a few years ago for sure. There's still a lot of work. Yeah. And so if tomorrow like things crumble a bit or start to get more tense, I think the freelancers that have already a visibility um, will have less trouble, honestly. So it's like you want to build your visibility when you don't need it, so that the day you need it, it's already there and you can capitalize on it. Just wanted to say that.
Yes.
Um, but then, yeah, going from freelancing to Shopify was like your question. How is it?
Yeah, I was yeah,
Uh,
first I mean you also had like one stop in between. Like you were also
mhm.
working at Clean Canvas for a while. Was there like
Yes.
another stop in between or did I miss something?
Yeah, I did. Like the year before joining Shopify, I did a year for Clean Canvas. I
Hmm.
was a freelancer, but I was full time for them, so it was kind of a middle situation.
Ah, I see.
It was super interesting for me to work for a theme partner because developing a theme for a client is completely different than developing a theme for the theme store. There's so
Hmm.
many things you need to think about for the theme store. Um, Even just silly stuff that I didn't have in mind, like right to left, for example, you need to take that into account. Like your theme needs to work in like so many situations. It's yeah, it was super great for me. And also like the developers who are at Clean Canvas, they have like 15 years of experience. Like it was great learning from them. I actually saw them like 2 weeks ago in the UK. We had
Nice.
dinner. It's a really good team. I'm still close to them. Like yeah, it was a great learning experience. I stayed a year, almost day per day. Like it was I joined beginning of January and left end of December. And then I joined Shopify right after.
Okay, so this was kind of an intermediate step between
Hmm.
full-time and freelancing because they gave you the
Yes.
security with like enough freelance hours to almost make it a full-time job.
Yeah.
And then came Shopify. How,
Hmm.
okay, first of all, like how did you do you even want to say like what do you do at Shopify? I mean, you're a lead technical architect, but people may not know what that even means, right? Everyone at Shopify has a fancy title.
Yeah.
But
There's so many titles as well.
yes. But what is
Um,
it?
this
Yeah.
one, is, this one is not the easiest. Like it sounds a bit like I'm in a cave coding all day and not talking to anyone. That's not the case. I promise. I talk to people. I'm part of a team which is called Growth Services, and our goal is basically to help merchants grow on the platform. It's as easy as that. It's a team that started 2 years ago, and what we were doing at first was site speed services. So that's an expertise that we have in the team. We have site speed experts that are going to audit your site and help you improve it, basically.
Mhm.
And because those site speed experts are actual developers, they're actually like editing your code to make it better. You don't just come out with an audit of stuff to do and like you're unsure on how to do them. We
Yeah.
help like from beginning to end. And after the site speed services, we added SEO services and CRO services, conversion rate optimization. And then at the end, we added web dev services. And so I'm part of the web dev sub team, if I can call it this way. And so basically, half of my time is technical consulting. So answering any question on Shopify for merchants, but also for partners. We have more and more partners contacting us to get some help on some projects. And the other half is actual development. So developing custom features for merchants. And so our services are quite special. It's a paid service. So you don't come to us when you want just a custom section on your store. You know, this is more work for a freelancer or for an agency.
Yeah.
We usually are contacted for like edge cases or question on a feature that was just released, or yeah, it's cases that I would have never seen as a freelancer, and it's also merchants that are much bigger than the one that I had as a freelancer. So yeah,
Okay. Enterprise
helping
brands.
merchants grow. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we do.
Okay, I see. So it's basically the same thing you've been doing as a freelancer, but now in a more professional context.
With a much bigger impact. And there's also the
Yes.
fact that everything that we see in our work with merchants, in our engagements, if I see the same thing twice, um, I'm going to talk about it with the team. And then we're going to say, okay, maybe this is something that we need to give feedback on to the product teams.
Yeah.
Or maybe this feature that everyone is asking us like during the engagement, we need to report internally like this is needed. Like we have, yeah, especially when working with European merchants, we have use cases that are not common at all for like US merchants and Canadian merchants. So it's super interesting to be able to, um, how can I say that, like spread the knowledge basically, like more internally, but also externally. So like, for example, for performance services, our experts could like fix issues on 1,000 websites. They could do that, but they can also fix it on a few websites and then write a blog post about it, or then do an interview about it to like spread the knowledge. And so this is also about that. It's like
I
helping
see.
the merchants that we work with, but also helping the whole ecosystem know Shopify better and do things in a better way.
Oh, this is nice. Yeah, this is a nice angle. So, yeah, so basically beforehand you have been a problem solver for a single brand or one, two brands, and
Yes.
now you're solving problems at scale.
Yeah, exactly.
Really cool. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And okay, so I mean, the job sounds awesome. It sounds like a ton of fun, but what kind of considerations went into this in terms of like freelancing versus full-time work? You also lose like a bit of flexibility. You're not your own boss anymore. I mean, the salary at Shopify is probably also like good. I mean, from what I've seen, they pay very, very fair rates, if I can say
Yes.
that, to say the least. So
When are you joining?
what kind of considerations went into it for you? I mean, was it the security, or what kind of benefits did you see the most?
You know we have a spot in our team, right? For you.
A spot in your team. Ah. But did you
Just
know I
putting
already signed a contract with Academy, which is I can't
Yes,
talk
I
much
did.
about it yet, and so I think I stay independent a little longer. But
That sounds
I
great.
have one foot in, one foot is in. I'm dipping
That
one
sounds great.
toe in, if that's how people say that. Yeah.
I'll take it. So yeah, you're saying advantages of the job basically for the
Yeah, or
position at
kind
Shopify?
of what consider or what made you even like consider to lose that flexibility of being a freelancer? What points were most important to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually a question I get a lot. Like, yeah, why did you stop freelancing and accept to work at Shopify? It's many things. It's first, I don't think I lost flexibility, honestly. Like the job is fully remote. So it's exactly like I was when I was doing freelancing. So like, for example, right now I'm in the US, like we have the ability to move. It's super flexible. Like in 1 year, we can be somewhere else for up to 90 days, which is like super flexible.
Yeah.
So flexibility is fine. Like um, fully remote, no offices in Europe yet. So it's not like it's not like I was working from home and then now I go to the office every day. This would have been a big change that I would have considered a bit more, but that's not the case. I'm still working on like many merchants at the same time. I think I would have been a bit frustrated and sad if I was only working on one topic,
Hmm.
or one merchant. That's not the case. Like right now, I have 10 at the same time, and it's like it works for me.
Okay.
It's still quite diverse in the way that for some merchants, I'm going to do consulting. It's going to be on like online store, themes, app, POS, whatever, and then some development for others. So I can stay up to date as much as I can with the latest features. Um, yeah, it wasn't that big of a change, honestly. The only change was that now I'm part of a team, which is huge, but it's like it's not something where you're going to feel like it's not worth taking the job. It's like the contrary. The things that are big changes is like upsides. So yeah, working with the team, seeing the team grow as well. Like when I joined, we were 7 in the team, and now we're 16. So I'm also seeing that and learning. Um, and then yeah, seeing also how the company works. Honestly, like it's I don't know, it's several thousand people in the company, and I had no idea how it would work. So it's interesting to see how the company moves, how much transparency we have. Also, like I have the ability um, on day one when I joined to see all the topics that everyone is working on, all the deadlines, all the Figma files, everything. Have access to all the product leaders and send them a DM on Slack and say, "Hello, I see that you're working on this. I did that yesterday. I see that you're working on this. It sounds super interesting. Can we have a call, please?" And it's like, yeah, I remember yesterday I had a call with a person who works at Shopify Ventures, Shopify VC.
Ah.
Um, it's a team that we don't always see, and I think they're doing like an amazing job. I'm always super interested to see like which companies Shopify acquires, which companies also Shopify invest in, and so I wanted to know more about that. And so working at Shopify, you have the ability to just DM them, have a call, learn more, and yeah, that's definitely a big upside. There's no downside about this job, honestly. Like I I didn't have much to consider. It was more like, okay, so now the clients that I was working with before and all the habits I had, I have to leave that on the side. But it's for the best, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, and I would also say your job honestly sounds amazing. Like everything you've described sounds amazing. Like having access to this network, working with super smart people,
Yeah,
working on like merch or working with merchants that you couldn't access before because they're like maybe too
yeah,
enterprise. No, all of that sounds super interesting. And on top of that, you're even allowed to keep building your personal brand. I mean, you're still posting on LinkedIn, and all of that is just growing while
mm.
you work and have this like secure full-time income, which I'm sure they gave you a good deal. So yeah, honestly, super stoked for you. Sounds amazing.
Yeah. The only thing that I can't do is freelancing on the side. And honestly, I think honestly that makes sense. Like, and I wouldn't even have the time. I don't know. Or I would do freelancing on Sunday mornings. Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
So I kept the newsletter and I kept the posting on LinkedIn, posting on Twitter. I just have to make sure that what I share is public, because
Yep.
like when I was a freelancer, everything I was seeing was public. So I was just sharing it, and like there was no question. But now I have to check, is it publicly available? Okay, perfect. Then I can make a little video and start talking about it. But yeah, I
Okay.
wanted to keep that side going. I didn't want to just work at Shopify and then be mute for all the years I'm going to spend there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to have both. And also the team is super encouraging. Like all my colleagues, when I post something, they're messaging me and they say, oh, that's great. And I had a colleague who joined recently and he discovered my newsletter. Like I didn't tell him about it, just saw it on LinkedIn. And yeah, he sent me like message in capital letters saying it was so cool. So yeah, it's they also push me, and so that's very nice.
Yeah, that's actually amazing. But I think that's also the right way to do from a company's perspective, because like
Mm.
that's the best signal you can send into the world. Like if your employees happily post about the work you do and like the how great it is, like that's only good press, right? So why wouldn't they want this? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you saw the interview that Toby did for Lenny's newsletter. He has a podcast, and the newsletter has more than 1 million subscribers, by the way. I saw that the other day. I was shocked. Great work. He's doing amazing work. And in the interview, Toby was saying that a good indicator that we often leave on the side is people just having fun, you know,
Yeah.
and like I'm having fun at my job, and so that can only be positive for the company if it shows, you know.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate you sharing the insights. Then maybe as sort of the last question before we wrap everything up we've covered so far, how did the application process even look like? Did Shopify
Mm,
approach you? Was it like a
yeah.
public job listing? Did you apply? How did that come about?
Do you want to know? Honestly, I'm gonna share something that only my friends know.
And now the word.
Um, and now the worst. Um, so it's very funny. So Shopify has what we call talent sourcers.
Mhm.
So they're the people who are going to basically scan the job market and see if some profile could match some offers that we have internally. And
Yeah.
then once the talent sourcer has reached out and the candidate is interested, then the candidate is moved to the recruiter, and the recruiter does the interview. So like the talent sourcer, I never had a call with her. I just talked through email with her. And so she contacted me. So that was, I think, October. Yeah, I joined March 2024, and so that was October 2023 when she messaged me. And the email was because I said to everyone that Shopify reached out, which is true, but they reached out in a funny way. So the email was saying, "Hi, Coralie, I saw your profile online on LinkedIn. I saw that you did this and that. It's great, blah blah blah." And we're looking to hire a lead technical architect for the growth services team. I was like, okay, cool. And then the email says, we're looking for someone who has technical skills on Shopify. So like the whole platform, not just themes or not just apps, really like a global understanding. We're looking for someone in Europe who has an online presence, like, 5 or 6 bullet points. And every time I was like, that's me, that's me, that's me, that sounds great. And then the last line of the email was, and this is why I think you are the perfect person to ask if you know someone for the role.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what she said. And so I was like, well, yes, I know. I know someone for the role. I'm interested.
Okay, but
So it
maybe
was a
that was
super
also
funny
just
interaction.
a non-pushy way to ask him. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure she had you in mind.
Yeah, then when I joined a few months later, I had a call with her and I told her why, like you made my heart jump like in this email. And she said, honestly, you seem to be like so happy as a partner with your newsletter, your clients and everything. I didn't think you would be interested in the job, like honestly.
That's
And so I
crazy.
said, no, thank you so much for contacting me because I had no idea that this team existed, had no idea this role existed. Obviously, like Shopify was the company I had in mind. Like we were talking with my freelance friend and we were saying, if one day we join a company, um, this is going to be Shopify. But like for me, it was more for in the future, and I didn't have a role in mind. And so yeah, I thanked her like 1,000 times. I was like, thank you so much for reaching out. This is perfect, and yeah, please put me in the hiring process. So to answer your question, the hiring process, I had first a call with the recruiter. So it's like a first filter of like, how will you fit in the company? Are you excited about the job? Kind of informal, 45 minutes, I think, interview, if I remember correctly. And then after that, I had a call with the hiring manager, so who is now my manager today.
Hmm.
It was 30 minutes, and same, it was just Does he think that I'm gonna fit well in the team? Um, so a lot of questions on my background of the projects I've done. What's my vision also for the next few years? Would I be interested in working at Shopify? All of that. Um, and yeah, now he's my manager, Michael. So I know him like quite well. But I remember at the time in the interview, I had no idea if I was doing well or not, because I couldn't tell
Yeah,
from his face. He looked like very busy, very focused. So yeah, I had no idea if I had made it, but I did. And so after that, I had a technical interview of 1 hour with Michael still and with Juan, who's now my colleague today.
Mhm.
And so this was a case study that had been handed a few hours before. And so it was basically a merchant case. Like a merchant comes to you and asks for this and this. What do you advise, basically? So that was super interesting. I had prepared like a presentation, a fig jam also to put the logic in place and show them. And after that, I had a last interview with a few people from the team, 2 or 3 people from the team. And this was more like, yeah, cultural fit. Now that I'm on the other side of it, I do the interviews like for the new roles that we're recruiting in our team. And this interview is more like, um, do I feel like I would work well with them? Are they fun also? Like, do they bring a good energy in the team? Because you do want good energy. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was that. And then last interview with the recruiter, but this was just like to discuss the package and more like yeah, HR stuff. The decision was already made.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, super interesting. Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing all the insights. But okay, so what kicked it off was still the personal brand and awareness you already had, kind of. At least it
100%.
created the opportunity, let's say. I mean, you still like crushed all these interviews, awesome. And I mean, I know you have
Yeah.
like super strong technical background also. But initially, the thing that kicked it off was the reach.
If I had never posted on LinkedIn, I would never be at Shopify today. Like, there's no way. Like the talent sourcer and especially the recruiter that came after,
Yeah.
um, she knew my life better than me. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, she
Okay.
she was like, in your newsletter from this day, you wrote this, and then she quotes me and she says, "So can you explain?" And then
Yeah.
she's like, "In 2021, you worked for this merchant, 2 days per week. Like, how? Not 2 days per week. That was too soon. Something. Can you tell me more about this work?" Like it was super, super, super precise. And yeah, she had scanned my LinkedIn for sure, my newsletter as well. I think Twitter also a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, if I didn't share, I think I would still be a freelancer, but like the work would be smaller. I would be less connected in the ecosystem. Like everything would be much smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. It's funny. It really reminds me of a story of myself, like how I discovered that creating content and having reach is useful. But my story is like even like 1% as interesting. I think I also never told it. But in university back then, I was a math tutor, right? And I had these different classes, like 2, 3 classes. Let's say 100, 120 people in total. And that was the first audience that I ever had. And then back then I had a hard time finding an internship. And then I just mentioned that in the classroom. And then one guy, like his uncle or like whatever relation they had a company, and then they organized an internship for me basically. And that was when I
Hmm.
realized, oh wow, it never hurts to like know enough or know more people, right? And then it's exactly
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same thing with content. And now you just do that at scale. And it's also how I met my business partner, Aaron, through YouTube. Once I had like 1 million views or something, because you never know like who's in between, and then it's the same for you with the recruiter. So you
yeah.
never know what comes back from that, and more reach never hurts.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It gave
Nice.
me access to some people that I also always wanted to meet. Like for example, Axel at Maestro, the theme
Yes.
partner company making Prestige, and their latest one is called Stretch. Um, I had him in mind, and like I didn't see myself like messaging him as a freelancer. I'm talking like that was years back. I didn't see myself messaging him and say hi, can we talk? I want to learn from you and stuff because I had nothing to offer. But because I wrote this post and he was following, when we met at Unite, he already knew who I was. And same afterwards in the other event, so we got to talk more and more and more. And yeah, now it's a good connection. So I wish I could meet also Michael Gallego, but he's all the way to Japan, so I don't know if I'll meet him one day. But yeah, there's so many people. Even when I joined Shopify, like the first day, so many people reached out to me on Slack saying, "You don't know, but I'm following your newsletter, or I like your LinkedIn post, or whatever." And yeah, it's such a good opening.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Really glad for you. Okay, I think we've already come a super long way here in this interview. We've started like how you became a freelancer, landing the first clients, then building a personal brand, like the benefits of it, and that you would definitely recommend everyone talks about the work, at least they do, just to get more awareness, how that
100%.
benefits you. We've been talking about full-time versus freelancing, the benefits of working at Shopify, your current role, the application process. Yeah, we did cover quite a bit. And yeah, Coralie, I appreciate so much you took the time to join the channel. I mean, after all, the thing became full circle, yeah, from viewer to
Yes,
being here. Do
I
you even
agree.
have like check boxes on your bucket list left now? Or, I mean, or is there anything else? No, I'm joking,
Yeah,
obviously, but yeah,
but that was a good one,
yes,
honestly.
yes,
Yeah,
cool,
it was I think all the channels that you watch and that are like useful for you and help you in a period of your life, you always dream on being there. And it's funny because like last time we talked, we were saying that in a jokey way. Oh yeah, you should come on the channel. I was like, yeah, right. Like, it's more joking, but no, it's happening. So no, thank you again. Honestly, super grateful to be here. Thank you for taking the time as well. I had a really nice time.
cool. Oh, I mean, I didn't ask, but anything else you want to promote? Any last words? Any shout out you want to give? Any recommendation for beginners? I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here, but maybe your newsletter or LinkedIn. Follow on LinkedIn. How's that?
Yeah, yeah. Follow me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, wherever. One last word I would say is for beginners. Yes, posting is great, and I advise like posting on LinkedIn because that's what worked for me. But like right now, I think the important thing is just posting. So if it's like opening a newsletter or a blog or whatever, like it doesn't matter the form. I think it's doing it that matters, and also reaching out to other people in the community. That's something that really helped me. Not just a post, but also like DMing people on LinkedIn and say, I see that we're doing the same job. You're also a freelancer. Do you want to meet? Like I don't know. The vast majority of my friends today, I met them through LinkedIn. Like it sound weird, but it's like just started at hi, do you want to meet? And they're all so cool. Then we stay friends and we go on vacation together and stuff. And it helped also breaking kind of the loneliness they can have sometimes as a freelancer. So yeah, for people starting, post and reach out to people. Um, they're less intimidating that they look like most of the time.
Okay, amazing. Couldn't have said that better. And yeah, again, thanks so much for taking the time and wish you awesome travels in the US and then hoping to see you in May on Matt's event.
Yes, see you in May in Paris.